Hello everyone! Welcome back to another lovely day of some Guns of Boon action. Of course, it is going to be me and Beneficus covering the Southeast Asia region. And Beneficus, how are you doing this fine Sunday day?
Another Saturday day.
Oh, it is
Danny,
Saturday!
you're living one
Saturday for
day
the
into the future.
boys! Yeah.
Saturday, indeed, yeah. So, week number 5, another action-packed day for us here, and of course, Southeast Asia region, my apologies, as always, is up for grabs here. So we're going to see one more time which of these teams are going to be battling out for those valuable points, but I think it's pretty much set in stone right now for Cyclone GG in terms of grabbing that first place solid.
Absolutely.
But to clarify for everyone else, let's have a look at the standings, though, just to remind you what all the points are about.
Yeah, and of course, we left off last week with Cyclone GG in the #1 spot. Of course, 375 points. That is a lot of points for any team. And of course, because the Summer Challenger Week, the series is now coming to a close, Cyclone GG have got a very formidable position here. As for the other squads, of course, Indian Wolves, clear #2 with 250 points. And on the third place, we do have Unkilled with 200 points.
Yeah, the last fourth place is currently being taken by Xavier's with 160 points, closely followed, well, relatively closely by Dracarys there with 100 points themselves. So that is pretty much the top 5 for you there, but of course, those aren't the only teams attending. These are just pretty much the best out of the Southeast region. And of course, as always, this does mean that we are going to see the best of the games that is possible from here. So, of course, I'm very excited to see how things are going to go down here. I will remind you, last week, Indian Wolves didn't even make it through the brackets, which was very surprising. So I hope that we get to see something from them today, as obviously that would be, well, they're my boys, my wolf pack, and I'm really sad I missed out on them last week. So, yeah.
I mean, yeah, it was so very weird to note that, primarily when we were doing spring, now that we've begun doing summer, it was always, the favorites, they've always made their way through to the top 4 stage. And the fact that they weren't able to make last week was so absurd, it was so obscene. But of course, guys, now that I've heard that the teams are decided for this week, so let's take a look at the brackets, how things are looking up today. Were there any upsets, or is it the standard affair? Let's take a look. I would presume, yeah, of course, we do have Cyclone GG, wouldn't expect anything else. Saviors right now, again, making themselves a top 4 finish here, and Indian Wolves, of course, here as well. So right now, it seems to be a sort of a standard affair.
Yeah, well, Indian Wolves are currently waiting for their opponent. It's going to be either Unkilled or Bulls, which is pretty interesting right now. This does mean, though, that for prestigious, they haven't made it through yet again, unfortunately. But if I am correct, they met with the Unkilled roster in the brackets today, so meaning that Unkilled were able to come out on top. As always, guns blazing. I mean, those guys are really good in early games, and sometimes if you can escalate all on top of that, of course, this does mean that you get off on a very decent start. Now, let's talk about today's maps. We have a kickoff with Military Warehouse, pretty classic. Then afterwards, we're going to have Paradise Island, our probably one of the most favorite King of the Hill maps here. And finally, we're going to finish off things in the best of 3s with the Europe Square map. What do you think about the maps?
It's not bad. We did have a somewhat of a similar map pool last time around. If I do recall correctly, it was, again, Military Warehouse was joining the mix. I think we also had Atrium as well.
Yeah.
So, again, Military Warehouse making it stay here. It's not a bad map. Like, Military Warehouse, as far as the map layout is concerned, it is somewhat even. No one does really have an advantage by starting on one side or the other one. It just really comes down to the team play and what the players are able to accomplish. And, of course, it being Team Deathmatch, it is also somewhat of a good way to, warm up. It's team deathmatch. You're going to be needing to find those eliminations. Finding the eliminations is a great way to, to warm up to a matchup like this. And of course, then the second map being Paradise Island. It's still not a bad map.
Well, of course, yes. But it's classically, you obviously see on Paradise Island a lot of chaos happening.
And upsets.
And upsets, indeed. Cannot forget about those. I do recall a few times Cyclone GG have been surprised on this map. And speaking of them, if I am correct, we're going to see the first pair of Cyclone GG going up against Xavier's here. Xavier's. I really, someone let me know in the chat. How do you really pronounce it? If anyone knows 100% correctly, then I would be gladly to take that up on. And of course, let us know in the chat as well if you have any favorites out of today's teams that are going to be playing here in the semis and grand finals. Make sure that you support your team, and we'll pass on any wise and good words that we could take out from the chat. So, before we jump into the first semi-final pair, Danny, did you have a chance to watch the Cologne event?
Oh, I watched it. And of course, I was in Cologne as well to witness some great Guns of Boom being played out there. And of course, the thing is, though, there's a lot of interesting storylines that have come out from that massive event that we have there in Guns of Boom. And the thing is, you know, with such a great event, we had some interesting storylines. Impact Gaming securing themselves a third win. But if we're talking about wins, if we're talking about matches, we're going to actually jump into our very first game here, our semifinal here. Of course, it is going to be Cyclone GG versus Xavier's. And we're going to be kicking things off here on Military Warehouse.
Let's get it on as the first match is bound to begin. And let's see if Xavier's can stand up to the Titans of the Southeast Asia region. Or will Cyclone GG run away with another dominating run here? You can see actually first shots already being made, and White Devil is slightly low on health here. But it's actually going to be Yonko making that first strike there. Follow up from Blaze as well, but very quickly trades are coming through. And oh my god, Sammy, you need to stay alive as he gets that double elimination. They're looking to get Heisenberg, and he does it. The triple comes through, and very early on, Xavier's are going neck and neck with Cyclone GG.
That is some risky business coming in from Saviors, but again, it is the point lead for Cyclone GG, and they're continuing it on. You have 2 eliminations coming in there from Gunnar. Heisenberg also chipping in, so even though it was pretty even at the start, now we do get to see Cyclone GG running away with this affair.
Yeah, it seems that Heisenberg was a bit too eager of going forward there. Really didn't have the health to take that battle, but it doesn't matter as we are moving on right now. Xavier trying to close that point gap as quickly as possible. Right now, the G-Launcher comes out, but Heisenberg takes down White Devil in the nick of time to save his team from that devastating firepower.
Okay, coming in from the backlines, G-Launcher is there, and only 1 elimination. I thought that's going to be massive. That looked like the nuclear explosion is going to get all the eliminations there, but for now, it is of course Gunnar. He's merciless. He's getting all the eliminations right now. Cyclone GG still a very formidable lead by 110 points. All they got to do right now is just trade things effectively, and that could be enough, but we do see his Saviors still trying to fight back here. They still have a chance here.
Double elimination coming through for Rocky here. Gets to pop the heal as well. Is going to be reloading behind that corner just to make sure he can regroup together with his teammate. But Sammy's in trouble right now as Yonko takes him down. White Devil comes in with that shotgun. Is able to trade. Even gets the grenade down onto the ground. Goes for the flank. But unfortunately, again, the health is just simply not on the player's favor right now. Blaze spots the enemy there. The double elimination comes through for Gunnar. The man is absolutely on fire right now. And look, the Cyclone GG are super eager to take Saviors on head-to-head. They're just continuously pushing forward here. And Heisenberg,
what is this?
Yet another elimination comes through. They're constantly around Saviors players here. I think they just are really confused for a moment as to they need to look around in every single direction to understand if they're being sandwiched in right now. Gunnar looking for more opportunities right now. Won't find it just yet as White Devil tries to at least get his health bar down with that grenade.
I mean, the interesting thing is that, yes, Cyclone GG, they're very much in the lead, but I'm not a big fan of the aggressive plays they're making right now. Yes, they are leading, but the lead can still be diminished there with some of those perfect aims coming in, but in return, there's Blaze with the double elimination. Not sure why he's knifing the air there, and Cyclone GG, nice elimination coming through, and Saviors, 50 points, they can still make this one work, but they need to find the eliminations ASAP.
Still doable, and as long as Cyclone GG don't overextend right now, they should be able to hold on to this. Rocky will find the opening onto Heisenberg, but he's already managed to respawn and take down Rocky himself. 441 point right now in favor of Cyclone GG, but Xaviers are closely following. There's still plenty of time for this, so as long as they get a good group engagement, should be good news for them. Heisenberg goes for that first strike now for the final push, and he does manage to get Rocky there. White Devil still staying alive, but didn't notice the players coming in from behind, and it looks like this might just be it for Xaviers here.
Yeah, it's definitely looking likely by this point. You do have King, you do have Sammy, still trying to find something, but if anyone's going to be finding it, is the eliminations here for Cyclone. They secure themselves TDM, and I wouldn't really call it the most convincing of victories, but it's a victory nonetheless here for Cyclone GG. Of course, we do have the top players here. Gunnar
I like the
looking
helmet.
very good. Yeah, that's a pretty nice helmet. And of course, I mean, as far as cosmetics are concerned, Season 4, folks, you do get to see a lot of these new skins being out here by the teams. And, they're they're feeling stylish, they're putting all the new skins.
They're spending those bucks,
Of course, I mean, how
Hey,
else?
we didn't have any emotes from Cyclone GG during this game. What's up with that?
Yeah, come on, step up your emote game,
Step
guys.
up your emote game. Well, I mean, I think we saw pretty clearly there as well that I think that this first match was a bit of a warm-up match for Cyclone GG as well, just in the terms of, well, normally you wouldn't see the players just pushing into their opponent's base solo if you wouldn't be super confident in the result of your own team. So clearly you can see that Cyclone GG are very confident in themselves. But before we speak any further, let's have a look at the MVPs and see who stood out in this match.
Yeah, I think one of the MVPs we can definitely talk about here for Cyclone GG, it is going to be, in fact, Gunner here. 135 scores, 7 eliminations. We do have, 7 assists and 5 deaths. Still not a shabby scoreline. As for Saviors, you do have Rocky.
Right, so for Rocky, it's 132 points, 9 eliminations, 2 assists, and 8 deaths. So in the assist cabinet, you can see that Rocky does slightly fall back in comparison to Gunner, but overall, looking at things, I mean, Rocky did a very good job for his team. The team can only wish it could have been a bit more in terms of those points. So Cyclone GG have started things off in a, what you could say, probably in a classical manner on Military Warehouse.
Yeah,
would you call it classical?
I mean, thing is, though, oh, it's game time, boys.
That's
What's going on here. Paradise Island here is our second map of the best of 3. King of the Hill, not too shabby here. Like I said, in the past, Paradise Island has been one of the maps where you do see a lot of upsets coming in, where the underdog is able to come out victorious. As for now, no one's really capped the point. There we go, Cyclone GG, they're up here. The players behind the luggages being absolutely demolished here by Yanko. And right now, as the cap is there, you do have King. He's coming in with the big flank. Not sure if he can get anything here. Oh, he's fast for the players. He's going in for the insta-cap. This is good still for Saviors. King is able to find the eliminations. Not too shabby here for Saviors.
King even finds Yonkov there as well, finds the combo breaker with that, but unfortunately for him, Gunnar was able to take him down. Now Heisenberg moving in here. Sammy's in a bit of a pickle, and he's going to go down as White Devil holding on to that there corner spot. So many players. The G-Launcher comes out, and it's a double elim.
Oh, that is beautiful stuff there from Saviors. Yes, Cyclone GG are able to respond, but there's King still on the control point trying to do the damage. Sammy's going to get up close and personal. He's got the right weapon for the job. And Cyclone GG, they're still very much fighting for the point here. Blaze has respawned, his teammates as well. Saviors, yes, they're going to try to make sure to take down the players there. King coming in with the G-Launcher, and you do have Yanko as well trying to find their... Oh, it's going to be Gunner to help him out. Yes, the control point is still very much in favor of Cyclone GG, but Saviors, they have respawned. They have full health to work with.
So Xavier seemed to be able to find eliminations, but the capture point just simply doesn't go in their favor continuously as Blaze, together with Yonko, they're clearing out those pathways of flanking opportunities, making sure that Xavier's don't really have a way back into this. And Gunnar didn't spot Sammy there, as Sammy will take him down, and it is a full wipe of Cyclone GG, so Xavier's will be able to capture the point here. Question is, can they hold on long enough to close the point gap between Cyclone GG and themselves, which is currently about 200 points.
Oh, the aggressive plays coming in, but they're going to be punished here by Gunner. G-Launchers there. It connects. The eliminations working out superb right now for Cyclone. And of course, that's going to be capture. The Saviors players have been eliminated. And as they do respond, they do have one thing by their side. That's going to be the health advantage. But Gunner doesn't care about the health advantage. He's going to get there up close and personal with the knife. The Blade Master connects. And at this point, Cyclone GG, all they got to do right now is not necessarily continuously hold the control point. But if they're going to be getting the eliminations, that could be enough. Blaze with the triple elimination. This is looking great right now for Cyclone.
Indeed, a bit of a dangerous move coming out from Xavier's, going through that narrow pathways. You can see so many explosions on the ground right now as King is going to be making his way through, but Yonko will take him down. He was already expecting for such turn of events. White Devil now could be the change that everyone needs on the side of Xavier's here, as Rocky and Sammy both find eliminations here, and Gunner will take down Rocky in the process, so somehow still staying alive, and Heisenberg just way too quick for Xavier's, and it seems that Cyclone GG are really showing who's the king of this hill.
Oh, they sure are. Cyclone GG. 100 more points. Victory will be in their grasp. For now, White Devil, it is a player we haven't talked too much on the first map, but now he's kind of stepping up here on the second map. But his teammates, King, Sammy, Rocky, you name them, they're doing a much better job than he is right now. And Cyclone GG For them, 50 more points, and victory is in their cusp. Gunner trying to find the elimination there. He's got the Barracuda out, and Blaze is going to end it in style with a Blade Master. That's a 2-0 victory here for Cyclone.
And a very, very strong dot at the finish of that sentence for Cyclone GG here, showing yet again for Xavier's that they can't really still currently be on their level, at least as far as we see in these semis, meaning that Cyclone GG will be advancing further on into the grand finals in that best of 5. And of course, they're probably curious as well as to who they will meet. Will it be Indian Wolves or will it be their opponent, which is still going to be decided in the last few moments right now. But before that, I really want to commend Cyclone GG on their performance here. As we already spoke, a military warehouse seemed to be just a bit of a warm-up game, but Paradise Island was a very dominating story coming out from Cyclone GG, being able to grab onto that capture point so early on and getting that initial point lead of roughly about 200 points was just pretty much on the back of the fact that Xavier's weren't able to recap it.
Yeah, that's one of the approaches you can go for Paradise Island. Sometimes you will be seeing teams, playing it far back. They're going to allow their opponents to cap the control point, but once they do, that's then where the opponents can actually begin to find some of those eliminations because they're exposed. They're capping the control point.
Yep.
And in that case, then you can attempt your own retake, hold the control point. That is one of the ways you can approach it. Or you can go just straight up to the control point, get those eliminations as quickly as possible, cap the control point, and then just hold it on for as long as possible. It really comes down to having somewhat of a more, I'd say, cohesive unit, more of a cohesive team, but it's definitely one of the play styles you guys can attempt in your own games.
All right, well, before we move on, let's have a look at the MVPs and see how both of these teams did on Paradise Island here. Pretty sure that on the side of Cyclone GG, indeed, it was Yanko who made the first strike, and he has made it into the MVP right now with 227 points, 13 eliminations, and 9 assists as well. I mean, the ban can... It's safe to say that he has been involved in every single battle here. And whilst for Xavier's,
do have King, who's looking also pretty good here. 147 scores, 6 eliminations, 8 assists, and 9 deaths. Of course, one of the things we got to note here about Saviors, they didn't really have one of their better players stepping up here. They didn't have, the individual of White Devil, really having a great game, really just racking up those eliminations, that score as well. He was kind of absent throughout the best-of-3 series in the first map, in the second map as well. It had his teammates that needed to step out to the playing field.
Well, speaking of him, we actually saw the same pretty much scenario last week as well, where White Devil would show up towards the latter stages of the day, but very early on. Perhaps it's just the player not feeling that warmed up, even though when you go through the brackets, I mean, you should be warmed up after that many games. So not really sure what it's that all about, but we can only wish the best to Xavier's because they're not still completely out. They are still going to be in that battle for that third, fourth place position, which is still going to be another best of 5 that we need to deal with. So, I think that in general, just speaking about Cyclone one more time, they have proven so many times in a row or in various orders that they can't really be contested here in the Southeast Asia region. As far, I mean, I always root for the underdogs in these battles. With Xavier's going up against Cyclone GG, as we just saw, it's not really that close of a battle right now. I can only still wish for Xavier's that they will learn from their engagements with these teams. But again, I mean, it's only 5 minutes of a match, right? So within 5 minutes, so many things happen that I really start to think of in terms of how would you analyze, your own match, per se? If you have 5 minutes, would you watch it, just by your own plays, or would you divide it in segments, or how would you divide the replay in order for you to effectively learn from it?
Well, obviously, if it comes down to the casual environment, primarily you can't really rely on your teammates. The casual environment, it really comes down to you being the one getting the eliminations, getting that score, and you can always learn from the mistakes you have done. However, in a more of a team environment, a more cohesive environment, it really comes down to, what's the communication for the team? What's going on there? Maybe there's some problem with the communication itself. Maybe the players themselves not hitting their shots and not using the best tactics to overwhelm their opposition. But the thing about Cyclone GG, right? Yes, they're the #1 team. This is Cyclone GG. This is possibly everyone else. But the thing is, though...
In Southeast Asia.
Yeah, in Southeast Asia. But the thing is, though, teams from this high level up, you think, wow, how on earth am I going to reach them? The thing is, though, they're going to begin, maybe there's going to be a point in time where Cyclone begin to feel cocky. Maybe they're not going to put in the practice hours. Maybe they're not going to be practicing at all, and they're thinking, well, we're the number one team. We don't care about this. We're just going to roll on through our opponents. But there could be, that moment where the second best team or the third best team might overwhelm them in some best of three. Maybe it's not going to be just the best of three victory. Maybe even a best of five victory in the future. We have seen in various esports titles, when the number one team just can't stay number one for the whole time, they're going to drop off, they're going to fall off. The question is when and by whom.
Okay, well, those are very valid points. I think one thing that you need to take into account as well is that a lot of these teams obviously are, just because of the pace of the game, they are very often forced to react whatever the opponent does, like sort of when your opponent enforces the playstyle onto you.
Right.
And one of the things that these teams should start to do in order for you to change the pace of the game in your favor, you actually need to capitalize on your opponent's mistakes. So, like, for example, in that first military warehouse map, when Cyclone GG were continuously pushing in their opponent's base, like, Saviors were still trying to take those as duels instead of just grouping up and overwhelming the first player, and then afterwards moving forwards as a unit together and try to just play the numbers game against Cyclone GG and try to come back that way instead of just still going for these duels, then falling back, then going out one by one, or these sort of situations is what I'm personally really looking forward to, because we talked about this well, not necessarily last week, that was Clone, but the week before that, we were talking about trading and how effective it can be, right? So I think this is something that still these teams that are currently sitting around like anywhere between 8th till 5th position, they're not really doing it that much. They're doing it, but not to a level where it would be required in order for you to actually battle with Cyclone GG, for example, because like your biggest weapon is going to be just the matter of you staying continuously alive and not having those deaths and not giving them those points and just trading it out with the opponent. I still think that's the best way how to battle with Cyclone GG. Of course, you still need good comms and an idea as like some sort of a game plan that you're going to have in place, but I think that's a very good crucial stepping stone that some of these teams could start doing, and that's also when you're going to see like players' numbers just rise in terms of their statistics.
Yeah, because obviously you can go, you see a problem, the players, they're gunning you down. You can go to the problem head on by just trying to take up the straight up aim duels. That's one of the ways to approach it. But if you're not going to be fighting the eliminations, you're going to be looking like a fool. Better yet, group up with your teammates. Trying to find some of those engagements where you are going out there alongside your buddy. You're going to find one of your opponents to deal with. That 2-on-1 situation should be working out for you every single day of the week. You may not have the best, shall we say, aim in the world, but if you do have some great teamwork, some great communication, that could always be enough to secure yourselves some of those eliminations. You get, say, eliminations, you get yourself score. Heck, you might even get yourself the victory in a map. Who knows? Maybe even a best of 3.
All right, well, that was a bit of a theory crafting for you there, so a bit of a food for thought. You still have a brief moment of time if you want to grab yourself a bit of a beverage or some sort of other refreshment while we are waiting for the other pair to be prepared or to be ready enough. But coming back to that Cologne theme, so right, you were saying, let me know how it is there. Just tell me, because I didn't manage to get to go. I have a lot of work on my shoulders, so tell me, what's the vibe like?
Listen, guys. Have you ever been to an esports event? Well, I definitely, and I mean definitely recommend you to head on over, especially in Cologne. You do have that Lanxess arena. It is massive. Like, it is really amazing when you're...
Do you need, like, a map to navigate yourself through?
No, it's not that massive, but the thing is that once you go into the, to the stage itself, you open up the doors and you see this, of course you do see the screens there, the players set up, you do have the casters and analyst desk. It looks super amazing, guys. Really recommend you to head on over to a Guns of Boom event, maybe some other Guns of Boom event, maybe a Pro Series one, or in general like esports event. It was really amazing to witness. And of course you did have, the players there sitting play on their phones. I mean, it is really amazing. I definitely give you a recommendation to head on over to an esports event whenever you have the chance.
And of course, like watching the finals that you had in Cologne as well probably was a completely different experience. When you have these huge teams, like literally the best teams in the world, of Guns of Boom, going point in point in these battles. What was it like? It went like 1-0, then it was 1-1, and so on and so on, right? So it actually was very close within that best of 9.
Yeah, it ended up being a 5-3 scoreline, if I recall correctly. Obviously, the victors were Impact Gaming, but yeah, it was somewhat of a relatively close affair. We haven't really seen a close grand final in some time, if I'm being honest. Because obviously the thing is though, you have had the Pro Series finals in Texas, where it was Impact Gaming. I think they got themselves a pretty easy victory there. I think they may have dropped one map in the grand finals. Then
Yeah.
you had obviously the Brazil event. Their Impact Gaming also dropped maps, but I think they also in total dropped like maybe two or three. Here in the grand final, it was way close. It was looking like maybe Lazarus might just be able to edge it out, but at the end of it all, it was obviously a victory there for Impact. And that is a very cool storyline. Like you had
Yeah.
three events, and they've won three events in total. That is a great storyline, not only for Impact Gaming, for the whole North American region as well.
Well, in that sense, yes, it's great, but for Lazarus, it's probably something that
Mm.
it's a bit of a pain in their neck right now in terms of just continuously making it so far, and it's always just a bit not enough.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I was watching the grand finals. Well, a few of the matches I did manage to watch. I really loved the POV view of the players. 'Cause you
Mm-hmm.
actually do get a good, strong sense of how the actual player aims and
Yeah.
how he performs, what sort of actions and his decision making at certain times. You actually could even see cool little details such as like what sort of angles the players use for their engagements. So I think it's pretty good in terms of like how you can actually have a different point of view from the game.
So yeah, and also guys, we're going to be heading over to now our matchup here. It is going to be the quarterfinals, in fact, that we're going to be taking a look how it goes, because there is still some wait going on. So why not we just take a look at some guns a boom action while we're waiting for these semifinals to finish. Of course, now we do see a lot of these engagements going on here. Indian Wolves have got the high ground. They're trying to get some of those eliminations here. It's looking pretty good here for Indian Wolves. They're getting absolutely battered here, Soul Reapers.
Soul Reapers, excuse me, proud to be Indian, was a bit confused there, it seemed, for a moment, as Ravi Reddy just took care of him with the Blade Master. Troy now does manage to trade back, but instantly Skilled and Hope come up with a few more points in the favor of Indian Wolves right now. 80 points in favor of Indian Wolves, 4 minutes and 20 seconds on the clock, and for Soul Reapers, they seem dazed at this point.
Yeah, we do see Indian Wolves just absolutely destroying the opposition here. There was a bit of a response there. Of course, the elimination streak they're coming in from Skill, because it has been ended. Soul Reapers did recover themselves a fine scoreline, but the problem is Indian Wolves, I mean, they're just camping out a spawn right now. Yes, they might try to make their way out of here, Soul Reapers, but there's a firing squad ready and waiting for them to pop one out, and Skilled, he doesn't even want to wait. He just wants to get the eliminations here, get it done with, and that's going to be punished there by Brandon. Go is going to be getting himself a double elimination. He's going for more here. That's a highlight reel if I've ever seen one. And well, Indian Wolves, 150 points for them, and that's going to be victory here on Old Factory.
Well, this is a nice preview for those of you who don't watch the brackets. As you can see in these quarterfinals, Indian Wolves so far, yes, indeed, are quite a dominant force. But as we already mentioned, with this sort of pressure in your opponent's base, there is still the possibility of a throw. Well, not technically right now. With 440 points, still 3 minutes on the clock. Indian Wolves just want to close this one out as fast as possible. They're going to be moving forward.
Yeah, they're going to be moving forward here, Indian Wolves. I mean, for them, 50 more points, just a couple more eliminations, and that's going to be, and that is going to be pretty much it here. We do see right now, Soul Reapers getting absolutely demolished here. Nothing really working out for them.
Yeah, for Soul Reapers, it seems that they will need to seek new opportunities in the next map, and that grenade should do it, and it didn't, as Ravi Reddy's G-Launcher finally ends this first map. So Indian Wolves are going to be grabbing that first map in this best of 3. Looking forward, of course, jumping into Paradise Island as soon as possible. As I already said, Indian Wolves are very eager to probably go up against Cyclone GG. But I will remind you one more time, these are just the quarterfinals, just before we wait to find out who's going to be the other team attending in the second semifinals pair. So overall, a very interesting performance coming out from Indian Wolves here on Military Warehouse in terms of I wasn't expecting for the game to be that dominant. Or were you? I thought that the quarterfinals are actually a lot closer to our deal, just because we were continuously watching semis.
True.
I thought
True.
it should be like a pretty much the same thing. But this also shows you as to why, for the example of likes of Soul Reapers, you don't really see them that often making it further than like 5th 5th, 6th place.
Yeah, because it also really comes down to the seeding, because obviously seeding is very important here in the opening qualifiers, because more often than not, Cyclone GG are going to be, of course, because they're in the first place of the standings, they're going to be in the first seed, and they're probably going to be facing off something like the 18th best team, so that's going to be an easy affair. And for Indian Wolves, because they come second, they're going to face something like the 17th best team, and they move on in, and that's going to be a pretty easy affair throughout the open qualifiers, some of the earlier stages. And of course, guys, let's take a look at the MVPs we had right now for this matchup here. Soul Reapers, I can't really say there was someone that really stood out for me, but in this case, it is going to be Pavan here. 95 scores, 6 eliminations, 2 assists, and 7 deaths.
And on the other side, you do have Ravi ready, as always, with 156 points, 9 eliminations, 5 assists, and 4 deaths here. So for Soul Reapers, there's still a bit more reaping required for them to take down the Indian Wolves, but the Indian Wolves supporters in chat, of course, are probably cheering all they can. And of course, if you have your Soul Reapers contributors there as well, make sure that you let us know so we can at least pass on that energy to the players and see if they can perhaps even overthrow Indian Wolves on Paradise Island. It seems like Danny just completely...
No, that's...
Just completely nah.
Oh, sorry, that's not going to happen. Not going to happen here, folks. I don't know what would happen there in such situation that Indian Wolves would lose here against Soul Reaper. Obviously, there was an upset that did happen last week, but this time around, Indian Wolves, I'm almost certain they're not going to allow such silly mistakes to go through yet again.
Well, I mean, for them, hopefully, but for the sake of just argument and having a nice, enjoyable match, let's just say that Soul Reapers could take Paradise Island off them.
Not sure if it's going to happen, but...
All right, so Danny doesn't completely agree with me, but we'll just have a moment before we get to find out and see how it all goes down on Paradise Island. I think that Indian Wolves are going to probably do a similar approach in terms of just grabbing the point as soon as possible, making sure they get like a 200-point lead, and then afterwards they're just going to go for a free-for-all and just, guys, have fun, you know, just keep a watch out for the capture point at some point in time just to make sure that it doesn't fall in the hands of Soul Reapers, and they'll be absolutely fine. But I do have word that, apologies, I was thinking about the semi-final maps. It's actually going to be Farming Complex. So, my dearest viewers, I have been mistaken and misled. It's just, it feels unusual, right? You constantly have the semis, and you keep thinking only about that set map pool. So, for Farming Complex, still doable for Soul Reapers. I really think that it can be done.
I mean, Farming Complex is somewhat of a relatively simple map. It's not a big map. It's not really a small map like an atrium. It is somewhat of a medium-sized map, I guess you could call it, you know. I like the medium and between the medium and the small, like this medium. It's not a bad map for some of the teams where, you know...
Does anyone have a Smedium t-shirt?
Yeah, like a Smedium t-shirt, you know, like the small and the medium. In between.
Are you a Smedium guy?
I'm more like a, you know, medium and large, like a...
Medium large? He's medium and large. Watch
Big
this.
Boy.
Stand up.
I don't want to stand up. Why do I have to stand up here?
He's large.
Okay, I'll stand up. There
You're
you go.
standing on the chair.
No, what are you saying? That's my big legs.
Stand up, I can't even fit the camera.
Yes, get down, big boy. Get down. We know you've got big boy hands. You've got
large.
big boy legs.
What am I then?
I don't know, giant, I guess. Something like that. You know, you're looking yourself like some people are looking for medium.
Some people should see our production crew. They're big boys.
I heard he is a big guy.
Who?
Not sure. The production guy.
The man behind the scenes.
I think he is a big guy, but I'm not sure. But I think he also has a big heart, so it evens out.
Oh, it's so cute like that. Right.
Farming Complex.
Jokes aside, Farming Complex, yeah. Soul Reapers and Indian Wolves. Well, right. So as you pointed out, Indian Wolves were upset, but obviously the week before, and they're keen to not make it happen ever again, probably. I would actually be interested to hear what sort of conversation they had after that, like not making through the brackets into the semis, and like, what do you even say to like say you're within that team, right? And you guys are the ones that continuously make it through the brackets, and now suddenly it doesn't happen. What's your mindset like?
I think you just gotta shake it off. Like, you just gotta. Tyler Swift would say definitely that you gotta shake it off. I think Indian Wolves also just
Taylor Swift.
Taylor Swift. There you go.
Still saying what?
Don't you know "Shake It Off"? That's a great song.
I'm sorry, I don't listen
so they don't
to
really
pop music.
They don't care about it that much. I mean, It happened once. It's not going to happen again. Farming complexes here, though. We are going to be seeing either a 2-0 victory here for the Indian Wolves side, or it might be Soul Reapers to still pull us into a third map. For now, it is a straight-up commitment there from Soul Reapers, but they're being demolished here. The big flank is there, and Indian Wolves, they're getting all the eliminations here, but the points are looking great here for Soul Reapers.
Well, C is still captured for Soul Reapers in their favor, as A and B are still up for grabs, and it seems that Indian Wolves just want to have a bit of a death match right now, as the C control point now. It seemed that it was going to be recaptured, but Indian Wolves have a different idea in mind. In the meantime, look at B, though, as Troy is going for the cap here. In the meantime, Hope is going to be flanking around that underground route there, just moving forward, looking to see if he can help Ravi already cap that A point, because C and B currently in control of Soul Reapers, and 150 points in the lead. Danny, this is still doable for them, as I already said. As long as they hold on to those points early on, they can get that lead. Oh, the G launcher.
Yeah, you had two players there on the side itself. It looked very scary there for Soul Reapers. But as of now, the players have responded. They're going to be getting for some of these eliminations here. They're going to be continuously still trying to fight for the C control point, and they're going to succeed. They're going to keep B, and they're going to keep C. But you do have the Blade Master there from Skilled. Can he get the elimination quick enough? No, he cannot. For now, Soul Reapers, they have a massive lead in the game here by 300 points. And Indian Wolves, yes, they're trying to cap the B point. It's going to work out good here for Hope. And Soul Reapers, this is looking splendid for them.
I think this is a preview as what went wrong with Indian Wolves last week, and look how desperately they're trying to get it back. Brandon now going on at A capture point. The triple cap currently is there for Indian Wolves, and they're coming back fast into this match as Ravi already even gets the triple elimination. They're moving forward, looking for those opponents early on. They just don't want to allow Soul Reapers to even get to these points. A capture point is now going to be contested by Soul Reapers here, and they just need to brace themselves, as Troy and Proud to be in both find eliminations. Even Jon Snow now jumps into the battle, and it's neck and neck, Danny.
Oh, it is neck and neck. The triple cap works out splendid there for Indian Wolves. Yes, they're able to minimize the scoreline difference, but it is quite close. We do have the players still fighting over for some of that B presence. Indian Wolves going to keep it, but you do have now A also being recaptured here by Indian Wolves. Soul Reapers, yes, they had a great lead coming into this one, but now it's falling apart. Soul Reapers, where are you? They're getting over there. Ravi, he's coming in with the big flank. He doesn't get a single elimination there, but the G launcher connects, and so does the second one. All the players, they're eliminated. If they're going to be seeing anything, it's going to be the grave. Indian Wolves, 50 more points, and they will secure the victory here.
And Ghost has just spotted two more opponents here, looking to finish the match off himself, and he doesn't do it. Still, the points fall in the favor of Indian Wolves here. And first of all, what a comeback. And second, that was a bit scary for a moment there for Indian Wolves.
Yeah, it was definitely scary. I mean, it was at 1 point 600 points for Soul Reapers. You had 300 there for Indian Wolves. And you know, what really helped them out there at the end of it all was that triple cap.
Yeah.
They hold it for a very significant amount of time. I'd like to say they hold it for something like maybe 10 or 15 seconds. And that you might think
it was a lot more than that.
Maybe even more than that, because they were able to hold it. And as they were holding it, you just see the points racking up there. It was at 1 point 600, 300, then it was 700, 700 neck and neck. And at the end of it all, I mean, you had, maybe 2 or 3 team wipes, and Soul Reapers, they just weren't able to bounce back.
This goes to show that in a situation where you have a triple cap moment happening right now, your biggest important task is to not allow anyone to get to those points, because you saw that literally in a matter of seconds, 200, 300 point lead can be just completely eliminated. And then afterwards, for the other team, obviously your first task then is just to make sure that you at least capture 1 point back and only then attend to the eliminations. But speaking of eliminations, let's have a look at the MVPs and see who had the most, who had the least, or at least from these most valuable players. On the side of Soul Reapers, it was Gamer with 190 points, 8 eliminations, 5 assists, and 9 deaths in his pocket. And for Skilled?
Of course, Skilled here from Indian Wolves, 237 score, 12 eliminations, 10 assists.
10 assists.
Pretty good scoreline, all things considering. He's a team player, 10 assists, understandable.
Pretty good. I think that's excellent.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. I mean, this was against a lesser opponent. Let's be real. This was just a great way to actually.
The Soul Reaper fans in chat are probably like, Danny, stop talking.
Yeah, I don't think they exist. But anyways, by that point, let's take a look at the brackets because they definitely exist. Because we did have our quarterfinal matchups here. We did have the semifinal there not too long ago. It was against Cyclone GG versus Saviors. Cyclone, of course, yet again secured themselves a spot in the grand final. And now we're going to be seeing the El Clasico, Unkilled versus Indian Wolves.
Unkilled versus Indian Wolves for a spot in the grand finals and for a chance to contest Cyclone GG yet again. And of course, the loser of that bracket will go down and battle for that third place decider match between Xaviers and whoever joins them. So, back to this now very well-known map pool of Military Warehouse, Paradise Island, and Europe Square between Unkilled and Indian Wolves. Second and third place. We've seen it happen so many times here. Any predictions, Danny?
It's really hard to say for this one. Like Cyclone GG versus Saviors, that seemed to be like more of a understandable affair. You can still match it up relatively well. But here, Unkilled versus Indian Wolves, it is relatively hard to say who's going to come out on top because we did have those upset victories happening, beforehand, where a team like Unkilled was able to make themselves a spot at the grand finals. I think it was maybe the first or the second week here, the Summer Challenger split. And the fact is, in this matchup, it's hard to say. We definitely saw the previous quarterfinal in which Indian Wolves didn't look that hot, but they're still, let's say, the contender for the grand final.
I think one of the trump cards that Unkilled have, they really have a good early game, and as long as they start off good early, they quite often are able to convert that in a positive result for them. In terms of what the issue is of them going up against Indian Wolves, they're very stable in the sense of throughout the match. They just don't seem to be tossed off their course by any sort of action, whatever their opponent does. You've seen it so many times playing against Cyclone GG as well. They seem to, for the most part, they actually hold a very close score line, and oftentimes you can't really even say up to like 30 seconds until the end of the match who's going to come out on top between the two. So I think for Unkilled, obviously it's a bit of a challenge right now, but still a very doable one because we've seen Unkilled going over Indian Wolves in the past as well.
Absolutely, because again, this is like a best of 3. This isn't a full-fledged best of 5 that we're going to be able to witness here in the semifinals. We're still keeping things relatively simple, best of 3 format. There is a possibility of the upset. There's no denying it, and Unkilled are definitely a capable team of doing so, even though you could say that Indian Wolves seem to be the most superior team. But again, one of the maybe scarier things is that if you do head on over to that third map, Indian Wolves don't seem to be a good team here on the control points. Yes, they might have themselves a good affair in TDM, maybe in King of the Hill as well, but on control points, they seem to struggle.
You're saying they struggle?
Well,
I mean, you just saw them come back.
They did come back. But, I mean, imagine if the momentum shift didn't happen there. But it was against a lower-level team. So imagine Soul Reapers, maybe if they would have had what it takes, the guts, to still pull off themselves the victory there.
Keep
in that best of 3,
it's
hard to say.
No, it's not.
It is. It is.
Right. Well, I don't know. I'm still rooting for the underdogs in all of these engagements, so hopefully Unkilled will be able to put up a good show and go up against Cyclone GG, which would be, of course, tragic for Indian Wolves because they would be stolen a lot more points again for the second week in a row. And for Indian Wolves, I mean, as I already said, as long as Cyclone GG basically participate in these cups, then they can't really overtake them.
That's the scariest part right now for Indian Wolves because of they had their lackluster performance a couple of weeks ago where they didn't even make it to top 4. That is abysmal for a team like Indian Wolves who are considered as the number 2 team right now. So at this point, for them, they need to make themselves every single grand final appearance, victories if possible in set grand finals, and maybe they can still pull it off. But even though that's questionable because it comes down to the factor of Cyclone. If Cyclone's not going to be able to perform, maybe they're going to miss a grand final themselves. I still see a world in which Indian Wolves can pull off the comeback. It's possible, but it's not easy.
Right. I have a bit of a game for you, Danny.
Let's play a game.
Let's play a game. We're going to have Military Warehouse, which is Team Deathmatch.
True.
Right? So let's have just a small bet between ourselves and just decide what's your bet in terms of what the point gap will be between the two?
Point gap?
Yeah. What's going to be the point gap when the match finishes? Let us know in the chat as well, just to see if anyone is more accurate than ourselves. But what do you think? Is it going to be 20 points, 50 points, 150 points?
I think the point gap difference is going to be somewhere about 50-ish points.
50-ish points.
50-ish points.
50-ish
What
points.
do you
I'm
say?
going to write it down just so we have it on paper here. So 50-ish points. I'm going to say that it is going to be a 80-point difference.
80-point difference. Yeah. Well, there's not that big of a difference between
Right,
80 and 50.
Right. So that's one thing. Let us know in the chat, of course, as well, one more time. What do you think that the point difference is going to be when that clock hits 0 or whenever one of these teams hit 500 points, like between the victor and, of course, that loser in that first match? And just we do have the first results, 146-15. Let us know, 46, excuse me. So people are engaging with this. So we do have a bit of a bet going on. The consequences, we'll still figure that out one probably as we go forward here. But I think
I think the consequences will be, if you guys don't guess correctly, demotion to silver. That's how it's going to be. That's how it's going to be. You're not going to get it right. You're not going to get yourself the right prediction. You deserve to be in silver. That's what I have to say. Same for me. If I lose from gold, I'm going to be hitting over down to silver.
That was like a passive flex that he did there, him being in gold and me still being in silver 3, but okay. All right, well, let's jump into the match and find out what the point difference is going to be between these two, Indian Wolves and Unkilled, going head-to-head. Military Warehouse Team Deathmatch for the place in the grand finals of week number 5.
Let's get it on here. Oh.
That's unfair because we didn't get to see the points.
Yeah, we didn't get to see the points. Yeah, 500-point difference.
And everyone loses.
Everyone loses.
That's what happens demoted. If you go to, like, Nevada and play in Las Vegas. It's like you place a bet and it's like 500 points off.
It's gone. Points
and the money is gone. All right. Just obviously a bit of a reset happening there, and the teams will jump in one more time. So you still have a chance to type in the chat and let us know what do you think is the point difference going to be. And who knows? Maybe we can even come up with some sort of at least a shout out to whoever comes up closest. I think that's doable. So production team, if you could monitor the chat for this match just to make sure that we have at least a precise nickname. For 5,000 gun bucks we can do. I have, production said it, wasn't me. I didn't make the promise, production did it, right? So 5,000 gun bucks are on the line. Let us know what sort of points are there. Joke, of course, I can't really have that transferred from my account in any way. This should be a good thing though, right? You should be able to lend some money to your friends.
I mean, yeah, maybe there might just be some sort of like trading system in the future. That would be pretty nice to actually, maybe trade some skins. Because you've got some nice skins, I've got some nice skins.
Look, if we're friends and I have a lot of bucks...
Are we, though?
Are we not?
I don't know.
All right.
All right. That's pretty awkward.
Emotions all
emotions
I don't know how to feel about that one, Danny, because we still have a long stream ahead of us.
That is true. A long stream ahead of us. And, of course, that's also, I guess, one of the news we can definitely tell to the viewers here, because we are going to be having ourselves also... The boys going to be covering EU, not only Southeast Asia, but once Southeast Asia ends, we're going to be taking a look at the EU matches as well, which should be very exciting, all things considering.
Yeah, well, I mean, we haven't casted Europe. We've just been looking at Southeast Asia live here. Obviously, behind the scenes, we have had a glimpse for a while now as to what's happening in the Europe region. So I'm actually very excited to see, and finally, we'll be able to talk about these things live as well. How so much we've done behind the scenes, but never really had the opportunity of seeing these teams playing live here in the studios. So that is for anyone who's going to be interested in terms of how Europe is going to be doing today. Of course, stay tuned for that later on. But until then, we are still waiting for Indian Wolves going up against Unkilled, and it's going to be starting in the literally 3 seconds, Danny. Anything you want to add?
Well, let's see how it's going to go out here, folks. Military Warehouse is going to be our first map here of the best of 3, as we have seen in the past. And, of course, our second map, if that will be, in fact, Paradise Island. And the third one, if necessary, it is going to be Europe Square. So let's see, guys. You have made the predictions. Let's see who is going to come out on top. For now, it is going to be an exchange here of bullets. Ghost will be able to get himself the first elimination. Lionheart responds, and so does Gunrag. We do see Ravi Reddy picking up 2. Indian Wolves right now in the lead.
Indian Wolves starting off strong here, but Unkilled are holding on, just regrouping themselves. I don't think they expect for Hope to be in this position, at least. Nobody has paid attention. Now they will spot him, but the push comes through for Indian Wolves. A Skilled will take down Tekken. Their Ghost is going to go fall down in the process there, but the triple elimination comes through, and Ravi Reddy together with Skilled just decimate the Unkilled roster.
Oh, Skilled right now holding the angle. Yep, he's going to be taken down by Tekken. You see Indian Wolves with a pretty massive lead right now. Oh, the player pulling out the June launcher. The perfect time there for Lionheart. Looks like Tekken is also going to respond there, but an elimination there. Ghost. Things are looking up here for Unkilled. Yes, they're able to find some of these eliminations there. There we go. They take down Skilled with some very effective teamwork.
Teamwork is key for them right now as Lionheart together with his teammate, that is going to be Gunnar. They're fighting against the Indian Wolves roster, and only Ravi Reddy is able to trade. Finally, Skilled comes in with a flank there, even gets the double elimination. And those are more valuable points in favor of Indian Wolves. You can see this still is quite a close endeavor, and Skilled really prefers this position, like a surprise tactic pretty much. They distract their opponent, and then Skilled pops out from the corner here. As you can see, taking down Tekken. Hope also manages to get Gunrag, but Unkilled are still trading sort of effectively, even though Hope did manage to secure that triple elimination. So still 3 minutes on the clock. Indian Wolves are in the lead with 120 points here, and for the Unkilled roster, it's starting to get a bit bleak.
All right, now Unkilled need to find some of these eliminations here as soon as possible. Skilled there coming in the back lines. He will be shut down, and look at this. All of the eliminations working out here for Unkilled. There we go, out of the blue. They're able to almost reach their opponent. Still a 100-point difference, but Indian Wolves, some of the players, yes, they have respawn, but you do have guys like Ravi who are a bit of a low in HP. That's why they're going to be playing it passively. Who's not playing passively, though, is the Unkilled players. They're going to get there up close and personal. They're finding some of these eliminations here. And Unkilled, yes, there's still a pretty big difference here, but it's still quite doable here for the roster. Indian Wolves, they're going to keep things simple. They don't have to play this one aggressively, but Ravi is going in there. He's trying to find the elimination there, reducing exchange here of bullets, but it's going to be Boxer now with the elimination streak. That's the point right now. Boxer, I wanted to say that he's got to survive there for as long as possible, but he goes down, and now Indian Wolves, 80 more points, and they will secure themselves the victory here.
Yeah, roughly 100 points between these two. 2 minutes on the clock, and Indian Wolves now don't really seem that eager to overstep their boundaries, even though Skilled tried to play his favorite position there. The armor is gone, but Lionheart finds the eliminations, and Tekken even gets the Blade Master, gets a second one as well. Only 40 points between these two, and Indian Wolves could potentially throw this one away if they're not careful enough here, Danny.
Right now, Skilled is going to go for the elimination here. Yes, he picks it up, but I think, oh, the Flames might consume him. The Flames, oh, yes, he pops the HP. Very good timing for him, but now there's going to be Gunrak coming in. He does find the first one with the Avalanche, but he goes down. This is still a somewhat doable position here, but Lionheart, he's got the Incinerator out. He needs to find some of that eliminations there. There's one. There's Ravi with the response right now. It's only 2-point difference here. We do see right now Unkilled. You need to find some of these eliminations here. As for Indian Wolves, it's only one elimination, and there we go. That's going to be the victory here on the first map. But as we do see Skilled, he's walking out here by his lonesome. Not the biggest fan. Oh, he's going to get it. He's going to get the Blade Master. That's the victory there for Indian Wolves. And that's going to be the first map here for them.
And I really wish I wouldn't have to admit this, but Danny, you were right. It was roughly about 50 points between these two once they finished off. And well, congratulations to you and whoever also guessed that it's going to be roughly around 50 points in terms of closing out that first map. So, Indian Wolves, of course, showing us here they are still the better team, at least on Military Warehouse, but we still have Paradise Island ahead of us, where, as you already said, the map does seem to get a bit hectic sometimes, so you can't really say for sure how it's going to end. And I really hope we get to see that Europe Square map. I think it would be a really nice match between these two teams on that map.
Yeah, because I think Europe Square is one of the maps that definitely requires the most amount of teamwork. It's probably the biggest map we've got here. And it being control points, you require a lot of communication. You can't simply just tell your guys, all right, we do have this one control point, kick the hill, let's just go towards that control point every single time you respond. No. That's not how to approach it. Right now, we do have this sort of situation in which, with control points, it's a big map. It requires communication. It requires some good teamwork. You can't just be walking out there by your lonesome. That's not the most effective way to approach it. You need some teamwork. You need some communication to go together, capture the control points, actually try to maybe even separate your units. I mean, there's so many ways to approach control points.
Well, a quick shout out for two more people in the chat that also guessed the point difference correctly. You can see that the players are, well, excuse me, the viewers are really paying attention to these matches and can predict things as similarly well here. So we are going to be jumping into Paradise Island and moving forward. King of the Hill scenario for the Unkilled roster. Will it be another map where they can fight on, or will it all end here and will Unkilled will once again battle for that third position?
It ends here.
Alrighty then.
Don't
Well,
worry
it's just,
about that, folks.
it's just resets for us today.
Yeah, our wonderful team of admins will
Oh.
definitely get the fix here as soon as possible. And yeah, let's take a look at the MVPs of the previous map we obviously had here, which by that point I wouldn't be too surprised if, from the side of Indian Wolves, it is going to come down to someone like, Indian Wolves have got Skilled, 193 scored, 12 eliminations, 3 assists, and 8 deaths.
And for the side of Unkilled is going to be Boxer with 143 points, 9 eliminations, and 5 assists. Only 6 deaths, though, so which is really good on the side of Boxer in terms of not giving away those free points to the side of Indian Wolves. But I mean, yeah, as you can see, Skilled probably did the bigger man's job there, almost acquiring 200 points, which is very impressive on that team deathmatch mode, meaning he essentially did close to half what was required from that victory. That's like a one-man's army, basically. That's what it is. One man's army, 12 eliminations, 3 assists, and 200 points, roughly.
Because that's the thing, it's always useful to have someone like one of these ace players who are able to find a lot of these eliminations. They're not able to find them just, one by one, but they're able to rack them up together. That's going to come down to streaks. If they're going to get themselves some perfect aims, that's, again, some extra points in their pockets. And that's what really comes down to Team Deathmatch. You need to be creative in the way you approach it. Imagine Military Warehouse is your canvas in which you do have all the brushes and you do have all the paint
Bob
to get
Ross?
themselves the... I mean, Bob Ross is a great guy. I mean, that is some great videos, but in Team Deathmatch you have to be like very, shall I say, creative. Yeah, I mean, you got to be getting yourselves the perfect aims, the elimination streaks, maybe pop out a G launcher from time to time to also get some of that extra points. It really comes down to you being as creative as possible.
I think one thing that also the G launchers do, like when you see your opponents using them often and decisively, let's say that way, it prevents your team from sticking together. Like you can't really, every time you're going to be clumping up to say move forward, you're going to be risking the fact that someone's going to put a G launcher in your face, right? So that obviously plays in the favor of that team, which, well, at least if you are, say, theoretically slightly scared of your opponent, then you're not going to be clumping together, meaning giving more opportunities for your opponent to pick you off. Theory crafting?
That seems to be today's subject.
Theory
crafting.
Theory crafting. There we go. Bit of a talk. But we do have another go at Paradise Island here, so let's see if Unkilled can come out on top here, or will it be Indian Wolves going instantly into the grand finals to go up against Cyclone GG yet again.
Let's take a look here on the control point. Action, action, and again action. That's the name of the game here. Gunrak will able to get himself the control point here, but of course, the players here from Indian Wolves will able to take him down. And, well, Ghost is there to capture the control point. You do have Tekken. He's coming in with the big flank. Not sure if he can get anything done here, but he's in a prime position to get some of those eliminations there. Oh, no, they find him. They take him down. Now, Lionheart is here on the point. A massive exchange going on here. Skilled picks up 2. And as we do see, Ravi is going to get up close there with the shotgun. Very close affair right now on Paradise Island.
Ravi needs to be careful here. The G-Launcher somehow misses from Tekken here. He's left on extremely low health, and he's going to fall to Hope there. In the meantime, Skilled going on that flank. He's going to meet Boxer there on the right-hand side of the map. In the meantime, Gunrag will take down Ghost, and he's merciless at that as well. Unkilled are going for that capture, and it is going to happen. Lionheart, with very low HP, is going to instantly fall to Ravi, who was running behind Boxer there, trying to take him down. In the meantime, Hope has managed to find Tekken and Indian Wolves. As long as they don't have the capture point, it's still good news for the Unkilled roster, but that's about to change with that capture and having so many eliminations. In the lead right now, Indian Wolves with 100 and more points.
Oh, that's a ballsy play there from Skilled. Look at this. That was such a beautiful crossfire set up there by Indian Wolves, and Skilled hungry. He knows there has to be an opponent close by. He's going to try to take him down. The Blade Master does not connect, but the shotgun sure does. And at this point, Indian Wolves, yes, they might lose the control point, but the respawn is there. Ghost. He does get the G-Launcher there, and of course the recap here for Unkilled. They're going to try to hold it on for as long as possible, but Indian Wolves, they're about to respawn. In fact, they have respawned, and it's going to be recaptured here by Indian Wolves. Nice G-Launcher, though. but that's still going to be a capture point here by Indian Wolves.
A narrow miss for Skilled there, and he's lucky to be alive, and he's managed to regain some armor. Now looking to see if he can catch these players on the rotation towards the capture point. Skilled just dancing around, even gets the Blade Master out there and does manage to eliminate Boxer. In the meantime, Lionheart is on extremely low HP, but Grunrak seems to surprise everyone with the amount of damage he's dealing. Even might find Ghost here and does it. He gets another elimination there, and finally Ravi Reddy is able to take him down. Still, Indian Wolves 230 points in the lead with 2.5 minutes left for the Unkilled roster, even having the capture point in their favor. They need a lot more eliminations. You can see Indian Wolves as well, just slightly playing the time game in the meantime, as Gunrag is taking them down one by now, and now they go for the recap.
Oh, the recapture should be going on right now. Ravi, easy target there for Lionheart. And as we do see Indian Wolves, yes, again, they have respawned. They're going for some of these eliminations here, but Unkilled, they're going to try to hold the front line. Hope there, the G-Launcher connects. Good explosive coming through. He's going to try to go for more.
Oh my God!
Elimination there for Hope. He's able to eliminate every single player in his vicinity. And of course, Unkilled, they have to respawn, but the damage, oh, that was some massive damage being dealt. Even Flex Tape won't be able to seal that one. And here, Indian Wolves, this is not looking too good here for Unkilled. Indian Wolves to get a recapture the point here. Boxer trying to hold the line here. He does have Tekken alongside him, but the players, yes, they have respawned. Yes, they're going for the eliminations there. A couple more points for them. They will secure the victory here. Flashbang does connect, but by this point, Unkilled, yes, they're still holding the ground here, but they do have Ghost coming in with the big flank.
And it might just be it for the Unkilled roster here. With this flank, Ravi Reddy together with Ghost will find the points required in order for them to close out this match. Gunrag has managed to put up a very good job on the side of Unkilled, but it seems that it's simply not enough as Ghost gets that final shot onto him, and those last points are probably going to fall with the fall of Boxer here in the pockets of Indian Wolves. And that is going to be it, ladies and gentlemen. Indian Wolves do manage to secure the victory in a 2-0 fashion in this best of 3, going up against Unkilled, meaning that for Unkilled, they're back at it again for that third place battle, Danny.
Yeah, it's going to be themselves in the third place. They're going to be beating Saviors there. But most importantly, we still have Cyclone GG up against Indian Wolves. Maybe this is going to be the time where Indian Wolves might just be able to succeed here. We'll have to wait and see about that. But beforehand, of course, we will see the third and fourth place deciders. So again, Saviors versus Unkilled. I'd like to say that in this best of 3, Unkilled didn't look bad. Like, they were looking pretty solid,
Yep.
you have to admit. The first map, relatively close. On the second map, yeah, it did come down to the victory there at the end of it all for Indian Wolves, but Unkilled, they've really come out here to play.
Well, Unkilled, as I already said, they have a very decent early game, but it just seems to fall off after that 2-minute mark,
Yeah.
and I'm not really sure what more can we offer these players in terms of advice or how we could help them to overcome this level, but still, that's obviously for them to decide in terms of how they want to play the games further on. So, speaking about Cyclone GG and Indian Wolves, they're going to be meeting, yes, as already you pointed out, in the grand finals yet again, but still points-wise for Indian Wolves, it seems very unlikely that they'll be able to actually contest that first place. So, before we move any further, let's have a look at the MVPs, though, and see, I'm pretty sure we should see Gunrag there.
Yeah, I think Gunrag was one of the better players here for an Indian Wolves, but for
16
Unkilled, it's going to be,
eliminations.
yeah,
Oh my.
16 eliminations. But the thing is, though, we do have Hope here, who's also sitting at 15, but he's got himself a better scoreline, in fact.
Well, it's off the back of those assists that you
True.
see, and
Assists as
less
well.
deaths on the side of Hope. So, very impressive stuff coming out from both these teams, and you can definitely say that Gunrag did anything, well, whatever possible it can be done in these situations. And as well, 16 eliminations. When do you remember last time on the MVP screen we've had 16 elims?
That was a while ago.
It was a good one. I think it was in spring still.
Probably. Maybe it might have been at some of the
'Cause it's
earlier
usually, like,
stages for summer.
12, 13?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, though, Paradise Island, you do see, obviously, teams having bigger scorelines than, say, something like Team Deathmatch, because you're always able to capture the control point. It ends up lasting a bit longer than the TDM game modes. And so you do get to see a lot more players having more scoreline, more having themselves more assists, maybe themselves getting more eliminations. But yeah, I mean, it's always very interesting to see like some of these players playing out of their minds to secure the victory for their teammates. And of course, if you take a look at the MVPs, you could say, wow, I mean, it was kind of a close affair there. 15 eliminations for Gundragon, 16 there for Indian Wolves.
Right. Well, let's talk about the best of 5 matchup, right? So we're going to have maps such as Wild West Saloon, Skyscrapers, Military Warehouse, Atrium, and Paradise Island. And speaking about the third place battle, Wild West Saloon, King of the Hill between Unkilled and Xavier's. We're already mid-battle with this one. The guy started without us, but speaking about the match, then we do have the Unkilled roster in the lead with a bit more than 100 points right now. Boxer does take down King, and King obviously will need to respawn to join his teammates. White Devils are on extremely low health here, and as he spots to even get Gunrag down out of the picture, this is chaos right now.
Yeah, we do see the point right now being captured here by the Unkilled roster, but you do obviously have King there, who is able to get himself the elimination there. Tekken coming in from up and above. He's trying to find the eliminations there. It is going to be a merciless one, and there is Rocky to pick himself an elimination. Still, a very close affair here on King of the Hill. We will be seeing the Unkilled players with the respawn. Yes, there's Lionheart, there's Boxer, but there's, of course, Sammy with the Barracuda. He's trying to find that elimination there. Boxer finds the first one, not the other one, though. King goes down. The process.
Grenade.
Nice flashbang coming in, and Tekken right now, alongside his buddy, yes, they're going to capture the control point.
Right, so the control point is going to go in favor of the Unkilled roster here. Sammy opening things up with getting Gundrag, and White Devil gets a follow-up onto Lionheart. They're moving forward extremely fast, trying to push the Unkilled roster away from this capture point, but it simply can't be done. As Tekken, Gundrag, and Boxer find eliminations here. Only Rocky able to trade right now, so still roughly 100 points in the lead for the Unkilled roster. They're holding on to the capture point. Sammy is going to go for a quick flank, and you can see that the Xavier's roster are not really utilizing the balcony.
No, not really. They're just trying to come in there for 2 avenues of attack, and that's not the right way to go. There we go, White Devil coming in with the big flank. But I'm not sure he will succeed. Yeah, in fact, look at him. He's going to get taken down there by Tekken. White Devil was in a pretty good spot to start off things one, but he just got lost near the control point. And now, by this point, Unkilled, 100 more points for them, and they will secure the victory here. Xavier's, yes, they had themselves a great start, but now they're just falling apart here. White Devil coming in with a push. It will be shut down by Boxer, and now they can just get those eliminations, and that's going to be enough here for Unkilled. There's the elimination streak for Boxer. One more, and that's going to be the victory here for Unkilled as they do secure the very first map.
Yeah, Wild West Saloon in favor of the Unkilled roster, and they are showing that they definitely have a wild card in their pocket when it comes to these King of the Hill maps, especially up against the likes of Xavier's here. So for Xavier's, it seems that they really had a hard time of actually getting to the control point, of having it in their favor, because as soon as they got it, essentially very quickly they lost. And as well, the respawn point is quite close to that actual capture point. So so you instantly have backup arriving. So let's have a look at the MVPs and see who stood out between these two on Wild West Saloon of the Dancing Buffalo? It's Buffalo, right? Not the Dancing Bull, Buffalo. Dancing Buffalo, right. Right, so we do have Boxer with a 253 points, 14 eliminations, 8 assists, and 6 deaths. Very impressive, if you ask me.
And yeah, for Xavier's, it's Rocky, 176 score, 9 eliminations, 5 assists, and 10 deaths. So yeah, obviously we did have Unkilled's Boxer having a very great game there. But I mean, one of the things I still want to stress there, how relatively close, Wild West Saloon started out. It was kind of neck and neck. You're thinking, wow, maybe there's a possibility that the Saviors guys can actually secure themselves the victory here in the first map, but that was not the case. At the end of it all, it come down to the comeback there from Unkilled.
Indeed. Well, we do have Skyscrapers next, a team deathmatch map, and as we've seen already so many times before, the pace of the game on this map changes depending on who is in the lead. And as well, I think one of the ways how this map is very forgiving is a lot of the times you have a lot more safer ways of falling back in this map, right? You can actually be pretty passive on it without doing much just because of how the pathways are made.
Yeah.
And there's just so many corners to hide behind and make sure that you can pop those heals and be able to engage. So Skyscrapers will be starting in the nick of time. Unkilled do have one map in front of Xavier's here. So for Xavier's, they really need to grab it back in order to transfer on into the third map.
Because the thing is, though, we have seen skyscrapers being played out in the past, and it primarily really comes down to which map is it. If it's the first map, we'll be seeing a lot more aggressive plays coming out. But if skyscrapers is like the last map of the best of 5, then yeah, you will be seeing teams playing it very slowly, very passively right now, because this is the second map already. Mid-presence, that's the name of the game here for Unkilled. We do see Lionheart picking up a couple of eliminations there, and now as they're holding on to this lobby right now, Sammy's going to come in with 2. It will be shut down by Boxer, but we still have Unkilled with the lead, but it's not a massive one.
Yeah, Xavier's just 3 points behind right now. They are regrouping, just expecting another engagement coming through, and Lionheart will open things up by getting King and even gets the follow-up. Triple elimination for Lionheart as Gunrag finds White Devil there as well, and a very quick swipe over the Xavier's roster means that they need to reset. Boxer just putting down a few emos there as well in the process. It seems that the Unkilled roster are in good spirits here as Lionheart on elimination streak, but the G-launchers!
Oh boy, that's why you don't celebrate prematurely, boys. You gotta secure yourself the victory here, Unkilled, before you begin to celebrate. As right now, it is gonna be still some mid-presence coming out here for Unkilled. It's not looking too shabby. You have Boxer, and you have a Lionheart picking up eliminations apiece. At this point, Boxer, he's got himself a very nifty angle there. Might just be able to get one, and he does. The G-Launcher also connects. Not too shabby now, King. That's going to be a very interesting situation here because we do have Lionheart, lonesome player here. He's going to meet his doom. In fact, 2 players coming to G-Launcher.
Oh my God, he gets
elimination. Beautiful scenes there from Unkilled, and that just skyrockets them.
Yeah,
to
that's
such a
making it rain.
There we go. Celebration there from Unkilled. I can't really blame him. That was such an important G-Launcher.
330 points for the Unkilled roster right now, and Xavier's are torn apart, literally and figuratively speaking, as the G-Launcher making such connections. You don't really see that often. Boxer even getting 2 eliminations on top of that as well, and you can see that the Unkilled roster are grouping up for one more push. They do manage to get King here, and Rocky is going to fall down as well. King needs to be careful here, and Lionheart gets another triple elimination in his pocket. So many valuable points going into favor of Unkilled roster. Sammy does land a solid G-Launcher, but only finds 1 so far.
At this point, Unkilled, I don't know how they can even lose this one. Look at this. They need to find themselves 3 more eliminations. That could be it here. Of course, Lionheart getting up close there with the Avalanche. Hoping to find some of those eliminations there, but it's going to be Gunrag. Oh, very nice positioning from him. They got no idea about his spot right there. Good shots coming in. He needs to find White Devil in that position or any other player to speak of, and that's going to be it here. Unkilled, they secured themselves the victory here on the second map, and they're leading the series 2-0.
2-0, and it's all going to come down as how these teams will play out in Military Warehouse, but let's just talk about that triple elimination. Jesus Christ, I haven't seen that happen in a while.
I mean, that was
you know, for a brief moment, like when I saw the enemies play, when I saw Xavier's health bars, excuse me, I'm just still overwhelmed. I thought about such an event. I was thinking about more of a grenade. I thought this would be sweet if a grenade launcher, but they actually picked out the G-Launcher, connected it, and managed to run away and get a little dance off. So like that's pretty much as bad as it goes for the Xavier's roster. And it also shows you we literally just talked about like players being grouped up and getting out the G-Launchers. So that is what happens when you group up against some of the best. So let's have a look at the MVPs and see how many points did Lionheart manage to secure here.
I think it might have been something, 283 score, 13 eliminations, 5 assists, and 6 deaths. But in general, like, the players from Unkilled were looking solid. The very start, the early game, wasn't looking that great here for Saviors, and we get to see because of it, Sammy, 116 scores, 6 eliminations, only the 1 measly assist, and 7 deaths.
Yeah, obviously a result that Saviors aren't going to be happy about, but that's why I think Skyscrapers are so punishing. There are these narrow pathways, right? And so, like, when you are grouping for a push, there's no real other way around. You really have to move forward and push into this. So we do have a replay happening right here, and you can see that Lionheart falling low gets that G-Launcher out in the nick of time, and it just connects in the best possible way as it could. Like, that's one for the permanent highlight reel, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, that was just so precise there you had. You know, there was some luck involved, there was some skill involved, but obviously that was 100% concentration, power, and will.
And this is... Yeah, right. I see what you did there. But this is exactly why it's great to watch these streams live, right?
Mhm.
This is also one of the reasons why I personally watch live streams, is just because you get to be there as the thing
Yep.
happens, and you never know what's going to happen. So, speaking of not knowing, we still don't know how Military Warehouse will play out between these two, but if it's anything the likes of Skyscrapers, then, well, Xaviers are in trouble.
Yeah, I mean, Saviors didn't really show up to their A game here, and of course, this is going to be yet another team deathmatch affair, but because it was looking so dominant there for the likes of the Unkilled roster, I wouldn't be too surprised if, in fact, it comes down to even a 3-0 victory, but we'll have to wait and see. Maybe Saviors can still pull out the victory out of the hat. For now, it is going to be a commitment here. King, very aggressive position, still hasn't revealed himself, finally does so. Rocky picks up one, so does King. It's still a back and forth affair, but White Devil coming in the back lines. Very good positioning from him. Gundrag will take him down. This is very close. This is the start. If you're Saviors, this is the start you were looking for.
Yeah, you are on an even playing field right now, so you still have all the opportunities in the world. King will find elimination onto Gunrag, and that's a very key player to take out on the side of Unkilled. King is going to be moving forward here, laying down fire, gets elimination. One more, but before Lionheart gets to take him out, Rocky now might fall here, but gets the perfect aim in the nick of time. Boxer, though, comes up with a double elimination, and still Unkilled are leading the way with a bit more than 20 points.
Sammy overlooking things here. He does have his teammates backing him up, and now he's going to make his mate push here. Oh, can he find the elimination? No, he cannot. And now this is a great flanking route here for the Unkilled players. There we go. Look at the amount of eliminations they were able to take down. I mean, to take down Sammy, then you have such a great route to take down even more players. This is a great start here. Oh, look at this.
Gunnar
That is
and
such a deadly
Lionheart in
setup.
this corner, but they were spotted. King will take him down, as well as Rocky will take care of Gunrag. And now Tekken trying to change the tides of the game, at least to somehow even out the playing field, not allowing for Xavers to overrun them, but they are moving forward very fast. Left-hand side of the map here, you can actually see that Gunrag playing with two opponents, G-launchers all around the board. King and White Devil will be taken down by them. Lionheart also gets elimination here, but the point gap is narrowing between these two right now. Only 40 points in the lead for the Unkilled roster as Gunrag finds King yet again.
Gunrag coming in there. Not sure why he's got the Barracuda out. Yes, the Avalanche will help you to get the job done. Gunrag up there to help out his own buddy. This is good right now for Unkilled. Yes, they are leading the scoreboard right now, but Saviors, they're now going to be able to respond. Look at the Unkilled players. None of them seem to have armor, and that cost them dearly. White Devil, Sammy, the G-launchers connect, but so do the bullets here from Lionheart and Boxer. We can see, no, it's not animation time. What are you doing, Boxer? No! Why is he celebrating? There's a front going on here. The battlefield is still taking place. I mean, Unkilled. Yes, they're feeling confident, but you want to finish off with a game at first. Right now, Lionheart is going to come in there, gonna try to find some of these eliminations here, but he's burning to a crisp, and the Avalanche won't connect. King will get it done, and Unkilled, yes, they're leading, but Saviors, he might just be able to bounce back.
Well, still 100 or 150 points required for the match to finish off here, and it looks like the Unkilled roster are racking a few more eliminations up. I think they want to do this the fashion way as the double elimination comes through for Tekken, pushing forward in the opponent's base. Gunrag is still alive. The grenade doesn't connect as Boxer will fall back there. Does manage to pop the heels. Spots Sammy, gets a tag in as well, but White Devil will take him down with that perfect aim, and Unkilled are just moving forward. They just want to trade this out and to secure the victory in basically a bloodbath fashion.
Yeah, we do see some of the players have lost HP there from Saviors, but Unkilled, they're not looking that great themselves, and there we go, double elimination to end it all. That's going to be a 3-0 victory here for Unkilled as they do secure themselves the third place finish.
Yeah, the third place finish, but still, I really want to commend the Boxer in terms of dropping those emotes, but doing it so much so in the open whilst your opponent is shooting you. Well, I mean, it just goes to show that they really have a point to prove to Xaviers that, like, basically get on our level.
Right.
And when you'll be able to dance mid-match in a team deathmatch mode out in the open without having any cover, that's when you can actually contest us. That's basically what the Unkilled roster are saying. And, of course, as always, Unkilled have secured the third position.
Yeah, the third place finish, not too shabby. Of course, you're always, whenever you make top four, you're thinking, right, this is our time to shine. We want to secure ourselves a spot in the grand finals of all places, but not getting the grand final spot like this is, the best thing. The third best thing you can do is, by
Hey,
getting
it's still a
yourself the
medal.
third place finish.
It's
It's
still
a
a medal.
medal. It's a medal. It's extra points and some more money in your pocket.
Of course, right. So, before we move on to the grand final, we're obviously going to take a quick break. There's been a lot of action. Let's just make sure we all have time to process that triple elimination. Make sure you grab yourself a beverage and a drink. And as soon as possible, we'll be right back with the grand final of week number 5.
Welcome back, everyone, to some more Gun to Boom action. Of course, we've seen the semis, we've seen the third and fourth place deciders, but now it is grand final time as we will be seeing the titans of the Southeast Asia scene. Of course, it's going to be Indian Wolves and Cyclone GG.
First map is going to be Wild West Saloon, and as always, it is going to be hectic as hell. But before that, we'll quickly remind you how things went down today. So let's have a look at the brackets and see what was the first match, what was the second, the third, fourth place, and of course the grand final. So we kick things off with Cyclone GG going up against Xavier's, and Xavier's didn't really seem to be a big problem for Cyclone GG. Very quickly, they went forward with that 2-0 and securing, of course, themselves in the grand finals here. And in that second pair, Unkilled went up against Indian Wolves, where Indian Wolves came out basically on top in the same fashion, going in a 2-0 fashion and securing their place in the grand finals. And the third and fourth place, Danny, well, that was a juicy one.
Well, I mean, third and fourth place, Unkilled pretty much 3-0 their opponents, Saviors. I can't really say that was the most interesting affair. Yes, it might have been pretty close. They're somewhat close to like the first map. The second map was a great one for the highlights. The third one also had somewhat of a highlight there with the emoticon. But basically, I mean, it was still one-sided affair. They're 3-0 here for Unkilled. But, you know, this being the grand final, I want to see at least, you know, one of the maps working out here for the underdog. At least one, because it's been 2-0, 2-0, 3-0. Maybe here we're going to see something like a 3-2 affair. 3-1 maybe? But please, no more 3-0s. I want to see some more action here going on at the Southeast Asia region.
Well, you'll have all the opportunity in the world, of course, because, well, starting things off with Wild West Saloon, King of the Hill scenarios, they are very unpredictable in terms of how they're going to go. It's all about who manages to secure that point for the longest. And, of course, having the Wild West Saloon where you have on one side the elevated surface, on the other side you have the balcony where players can easily jump down from or at least chuck grenades onto the capture point, not allowing anyone to stand there. And, of course, the ever-present threat of G-launchers.
Yes, the ever-present threat of G-launchers. It is very, very scary to map, like Wild West Saloon, for very good reasons, because you obviously have, you know, the saloon itself. It allows you to actually find some of those eliminations from inside the saloon, right close by the bar area. But if you're also able to take the high ground there on the balcony, that is also such a powerful position because you can obviously rain down hell from above. If you're also want to try and be the player to actually capture the control point, you can also do this so from the balcony area. All you got to do is jump down, make sure to not break your legs. But if you do jump down, you're able to get yourselves the opponents coming in there from the backlines and secure yourself some easy eliminations and maybe the control point itself.
Well, let's see how it all will go down here on Wild West Saloon between Indian Wolves and Cyclone GG. The best two teams of Southeast Asia region meeting yet again in the grand finals of week number 5. Let us know in the chat which one is your favorite team here, who's gonna come out on top as the first shots are being made here, and Ghost is gonna go down to Heisenberg making that first strike, and Gunner instantly gets a follow-up onto Hope there as well. Skilled struggling to stay alive as Yonko gets the Blade Master onto them, and the capture point is gonna go in favor of Cyclone GG.
You have Ghost. This is the position I was talking about. Him being on the balcony, he can be quite the nuisance. There's going to be Blaze to shut him down, so this is still an interesting situation here as we do see the players from Indian Wolves finding things over the flank area. Yanko will go down. That's a triple elimination there for Ravi, but Gunner going to make sure no one's going to be stepping that control point. We do see the engagements going through. Indian Wolves have secured the control point, but not for long. Hope will be going down, and they do have Skill coming in. Oh! That's a massive G-launcher, and Skill's going to get himself free. Could go for 4 as he's trying to find one last elimination. He will be shut down, but the damage, it has been dealt. Ghost and Ravi are able to pick up the pieces, but here Heisenberg, oh, that's a very prime position for him to be in, but he goes down. Yes, the point has been neutralized. Meanwhile, you do have Gunner with a triple elimination of his own. Of course, there's a lot of explosive damage being dealt out. There's Yonko with the Blade Master, and now the point is being recaptured here by Cyclone.
A bit of a piece for a small moment as Gunner peeking over that surface looking to see if it can pop any heads. In the meantime, Ravi Reddy does take care of Heisenberg here. The point still in favor of Cyclone GG, but Indian Wolves are desperate to go for that cap. In the meantime, Gunner on an elimination streak here, and Yonko gets a triple elimination at that as well, being merciless and looking to even push forward a bit, making sure that Indian Wolves cannot approach this point easily. The Blade Master comes through for Heisenberg as well, and hope might fall here to Heisenberg as well. The Blade Master comes out for Blaze and Cyclone GG. They're on a roll right now. 140 points in the lead, 2 minutes and 50 seconds on the clock. And Indian Wolves, it's desperate times for them as the capture point still is in favor of Cyclone GG, but the tides might just change.
Yeah, all three players are now at the control point. You got to be quite careful about that one. They're very vulnerable. There we go. They're able to escape the G launcher by the skin of their teeth. Meanwhile, Blaze, he's out here by his lonesome. He has no backup. There we go. That's where he goes down. The grenade is thrown out. The players will back away from it, but it's still a control point here for Indian Wolves. It's very much a neck-and-neck affair as we do see Ravi. He will be getting himself the Blade Master, but Heisenberg, he's trying to cap the point. Blade Master, in your face, says Ravi. But there's going to be Blaze to recover things. A control point here for Cyclone, but no, it is still neutralized. Looks like it's all going to come down to eliminations. Yonko goes down as well, but Ghost will recover it here for Indian Wolves.
And the point goes in favor of Indian Wolves right now as Cyclone GG are going to be approaching it. Heisenberg trying to recap it even though he doesn't even have any armor remaining right now. A huge risk, and he manages to grab it in the nick of time as Ghost and Hope finding those Blade Masters. Ghost even finds another elimination onto Gunner there, and I really like Ghost's position right now. You can definitely say that he's going to surprise whoever's going to walk around that corner, and that is going to be Blaze who's going to fall to him, and that's a triple elimination for Ghost here. Indian Wolves are in the lead by 100 points, a minute and 30 seconds on the clock. Can Cyclone GG can even come back into this right now?
That's the question right now. Cyclone GG is going to come down to some impressive heroics, but that's looking very unlikely. You see 10 points right now separating them to a victory, and it is going to be a victory here by Indian Wolves.
Indian Wolves managed to secure that first map, that King of the Hill, the chaos, the everything that's happening right now, and this sets up Indian Wolves for a great best-of-5 series against Cyclone GG. Having that first important map in their pocket, that's at least one map that you could then afterwards potentially lose and not feel bad about it. Well, in the sense that at least extending the matchup that they have right now. Obviously, they're going to be jumping into Skyscrapers next, which is still a very dangerous map for Team Deathmatch as we saw previously. But before that, let's have a look at the MVPs and see who managed to rack up the most amount of eliminations here. And I would be surprised if it would be someone else than Gunner. As you can see, 12 eliminations, 9 assists from Cyclone GG with a 239 scoreline. But look at skill.
Yeah, 332 scored, 13 eliminations, 4 assists, and the 9 deaths. What's very interesting about here in this King of the Hill scenario, you barely got to see the point being held out by one team for a significant amount of time.
Yeah.
Primarily just came down to eliminations. Who was able to find the most eliminations did eventually come out on top when you think about it, and I think Indian Wolves, it came down to their players in those last couple of seconds. They needed to find the eliminations. They got them, and the point didn't really even make a lot of sense to keep it. They found the eliminations, and that was enough for them to secure the victory.
Well, a lot of heroic plays were made definitely in this first map, and I can only hope that Skyscrapers is going to be the same story between these two, because if we move on like this, then for sure we're going to see all 5 maps here.
Oh, yes. This is looking like a very exciting best of 5. I mean, primarily we have seen a lot of these like 2-0s, 3-0s, sure, but this is, a grand final affair in which Indian Wolves, yes, they are the second best team in this region, but we have seen in the past how they have toppled Cyclone GG, so maybe this is again going to be their week. For now, great start. They have the series in their favor, 1-0.
Obviously, for Indian Wolves, they only care about the victory in this matchup. They need every single point they can have, as currently between themselves and Cyclone GG, there's 125 points, if I remember correctly. So Cyclone GG, we're sitting at 375 and 250 for Indian Wolves there. So obviously now, even if Indian Wolves do secure the victory, there's still going to be a significant point gap between them two, and meaning that it's all going to come down as to how the brackets will be played out next week.
Yeah, I wonder how the bracket's going to be played out next week, but if we were to talk about, our second map here of the best of 5, it is going to come down to Skyscrapers we have seen this map in the past. It has cropped up in the best of 5 series in some of the previous weeks.
Well, usually as as you already mentioned before, as a closer, like
Yeah, it was kind of like the close,
map number 5.
like it was, I think, a lot of times like the third map, and when someone like Cyclone GG was winning the series predominantly, they'd finish it all 3-0, and that was basically it. But here's Skyscrapers, because it is the map that ends up popping out here as the second one, it is going to be offering different playstyles. Beforehand, Skyscrapers, you get to see one team fighting the eliminations, then they'd back away, then the other one would have to try to get the eliminations, like a game of basketball when you think about it.
Yeah.
And obviously, because it's now our second map, it allows way more aggression. It's a much more interesting map to witness because both teams are fighting for some of that mid-presence as early as possible. Once they acquire middle, that gives them a lot more room to work with. And of course, guys, let's get it on here. It is going to be our second map of the best of 5, Skyscrapers.
Skyscrapers between Indian Wolves and Cyclone GG Grand Finals time. Indian Wolves have managed to secure one map up, and it is going to be a remake.
Or a victory.
Or a victory.
Or a victory there for Cyclone GG.
It's just another brief moment of pause where the teams can one more time quickly go over their game plan and how they're going to approach this. Obviously, we're not going to see that much passive game style happening in this map, it being the second, right? Whilst it offers a lot of cover opportunities, it's the same for attack, right? You have so many opportunities of getting extremely close to your opponent, even without them basically knowing about it. And a lot of it is going to come down as to how they battle it out towards this middle part of the map, the inner area, where, again, there's pillars that you can hide behind, there's corners that you come in through, and that right-hand side of the map, from at least one team's perspective, where you have the ledge, right? Like that sort of pathway on the right-hand side that goes along almost all the map. That area is generally usually a sniper battle out because you obviously have the range. You can't really do much with the grenades there unless your opponent oversteps his boundaries, and therefore that's why a lot of the times you see quite a few teams picking up sniper rifles on this map just to get those early tags in, and then afterwards your teammates can follow up with a flank from the other side.
And it's also quite interesting that in this map, you can also sometimes get lucky with a particular spawn there. In your spawn, once you actually end up respawning, you can also sometimes get on that bridge. And if you're on that bridge position, it is very powerful. If your opponents are playing aggressively, you can punish them relatively easily. But once you jump down for that bridge, I mean, you're on a level playing field just like everyone else. So it's a very prime position to be in. If, of course, you're going to be seeing the sort of back and forth play style of aggression. But here, again, the second map, I think we're going to be seeing a lot more battles going on in middle, and that position there on the bridge is not going to be that effective.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be that irrelevant in this matches as well. It's very easy to counter that position. Basically, just play in a way where that player on that balcony is ineffective, meaning he doesn't even have any firing opportunities, and he'll be forced to move out of that position, especially if your team is behind in points.
Yeah, exactly, and we've got the word, folks. Our second map is starting shortly here. Of course, Skyscrapers Team Deathmatch. It should be a very interesting affair. We obviously did have previously in the third and fourth place decider that, amazing collateral there from Lionheart. We'll see if any of his heroics, or shall I say the heroics of either of the squad here, will appear. For now, it is going to be mid-control. That's the name of the game here for Cyclone GG. They're controlling here the lobby area. But it looks like Ghost and Ravi, alongside Skilled, seem to be aware of this play from Cyclone, and Ghost is getting the first elimination. Now you will be seeing Hope coming in up close there with the Blade Master. And now Hope getting himself a second one. That's beautiful. Chef Ramsey will be proud of that. And Indian Wolves, yes, they do have themselves the lead, but Cyclone GG, they are here with a respawn.
Cyclone GG respawning and very eager to take it back, but Skilled is so far behind enemy lines. This is so much information that he's gaining for his team, as well as an excellent opportunity to cut down any reinforcements that might be coming through, but Blaze was just simply better than Skilled in that situation. In the meantime, Heisenberg has found an elimination as well. Yako finds one, and that is the point gap narrowing very quickly here, as Skilled only now able to pick up an elimination for himself, but very quickly Ghost and Hope are able to follow up on that, and still Indian Wolves are in the lead. And as I say that, Gunner with the triple elimination will be taking it back, misses the G-Launcher unfortunately, as Ravi Reddy will fall to Heisenberg.
Oh, this is a super close affair. Now Cyclone GG able to bounce back here. G-Launcher coming in. Is it effective? Yes, it is. Blaze getting two there. That's crispy, and that's going to be a response there from Hope, but he goes down in the process. So Indian Wolves, at one point they were kind of leading, but Cyclone GG, they're bouncing back.
crispy indeed as more grenades are going to be put down on the ground. In the meantime, Ravi ready and both Ghost even finds a double elimination there. So Indian Wolves are still neck and neck with Cyclone GG, only 30 points behind. A bit of a pre-nade happening from Ghost here as he's expecting for this team to run through the pathway as soon as possible. Now they're going to be running into a trap. That grenade definitely finds a lot more damage than Cyclone GG were expecting, and even the follow-up is coming through, but still Cyclone GG managed to contest that lead as Blaze with the triple elimination, having given his team the valuable points required to at least have a bit of a breather before the teams reset.
We do see Gunner here. We have seen some impressive highlights from this position. Ravi might become tempted to go for the G launcher there, but Gunner, he's going to get it very close there. Hope right there. We're going to take down one more player. And we do see Cyclone GG, yes, they were leading at one point, but the lead is insignificant. The one good thing right now for Cyclone is that these Indian Wolves players, they're low in HP. Some of them don't even have armor to work with. That is a scary situation here for Indian Wolves. If Cyclone GG play their cards right, this should be them wiping out their opponents, but it's going to be Ghost. Continue on with the elimination streak and putting his team in a somewhat better position. There's Yanko there with the flank. Prime position there for Yanko, and he's going to go for more. The Incinerator, the perfect weapon to take down some of these players there. And Cyclone GG, yes, they're leading here, but Hope, oh, very nice there from Heisenberg. The Incinerator is able to take down one more, and Cyclone GG, they're looking good to close this one out.
Speaking about that balcony position, Ravi already was able to utilize it perfectly as he managed to take down Heisenberg, and now it's all or nothing for Indian Wolves as they're moving forward, and they've overtaken the lead yet again. 1 minute and 45 seconds on the clock, and Heisenberg needs to be careful, definitely needs to stay alive here, isn't even aware of the fact that there's so many players next to him. The grenade will not find that much damage, and the other grenade from Heisenberg misses. The Skilled and Hope both find engagements here, but instantly Cyclone GG do trade back, and the clock is running down here for Indian Wolves. They just need a few more eliminations, and the same goes for Cyclone GG.
Oh, I'm not a big fan of the push there from Ghost. It could work out so well for him, but Skilled has got to be quite careful here. Ghost, he's coming in with the big flank, finds the first one. A lot more players to find. What a massive flank there from Ghost. He gets himself the double elimination. And that's going to be the victory. I mean, that was superb. That flank decided the victory there for Indian Wolves. Well done indeed.
Very impressive stuff, and you can see that it was actually very coordinated as well. You had the other teammate there that put down the grenade. He knew the opponents are there. His mission was just to stay alive and distract them long enough so that Ghost can come in from behind and do the job that is required, that is securing the victory here in the second map. And Indian Wolves are up 2-0 against Cyclone GG, and the Cyclone GG fanboys, you're hurt.
I mean, what can you do? 200 IQ play there being made. I mean, you can't be a Panini head if you're making a play like that. That was impressive. Come on, I'm keeping up the Golden Ramsay references.
Golden Ramsay.
Haven't you not seen Kitchen Nightmares? It's a great show. For now, what's also great, the MVPs of this game. We obviously had some very impressive plays coming out, and from the side of Cyclone, we will be having Blaze, 224 score, 11 eliminations, 4 assists, and 7 deaths.
And on the side of Indian Wolves, we do have Ghost, 14 eliminations, 3 assists, 215 points in his pocket, but most importantly, of course, the play that granted them the victory here on this second map. This does mean that this all could end on Military Warehouse between Indian Wolves and Cyclone GG in a potentially 3-0 fashion, and I think Cyclone GG are thinking just that right now.
I mean, it's definitely possible. By this point, the fact that our third map is going to be Military Warehouse, again, team deathmatch, if Indian Wolves is going to have their players stepping up yet again, I definitely see a world in which that is, in fact, going to be the victory.
Yeah, so, I mean, right now it is very important for these teams to gather themselves and to be able to engage in a head-to-head battle and keep their cool for Cyclone GG as well. I mean, they really need to think about making sure that their back line doesn't stay open, right? Because they continuously get picked off from behind, and you saw there as well before where one of the players from the side of Indian Wolves was able to get essentially to the base of their opponent without being noticed, and that's always a threat. And in the fact that they were able to close out that match in that way, I think Indian Wolves have just found the golden key to finding their victory against Cyclone GG, and it is a flank, but the timing needs to be impeccable.
Well, let's see how it goes here, folks. Military Warehouse. It is going to come down to this third map, potentially our last one. We'll see if that's going to be the case here, folks. For now, of course, the players have disconnected. It's going to be a good old-fashioned remake, so don't worry here, folks. Our wonderful team of admins will get the fix here as soon as possible. We will be able to continue on with the matchup here because this is potentially the very last map of the best of 5.
Right. So let's have a look at the standings, and I'll tell you what could potentially happen here, right? So if Indian Wolves secure the victory in this grand final now, they'll get 100 points, and they'll be sticking at 350 points. That's correct, right? And if Cyclone GG now stay in the second place, they're going to be landing at 450 points. And if Cyclone GG don't even attend next week, right, they're going to be essentially sitting at a draw.
That's scary, isn't it?
That's very scary for Cyclone GG because Cyclone GG, if they lose now, they are risking a lot during next week. And of course, everyone else in the group stages that's going to be going up against Cyclone GG, whilst perhaps some of these teams don't have the opportunity of, say, getting into this top 5 teams, they will have the opportunity to be the ones to stop Cyclone GG from even getting points, which is going to be probably one of the teams that are competing in this bracket stage, the biggest upset they can potentially give to the leader of the standings.
Yeah, but imagine what a sort of the satisfying situation it would be for Cyclone GG. You're for such a long period, you're at the top of your game, you're thinking, right, a couple more weeks remaining, who could topple us? Well, looks like it might just be Indian Wolves to do so. Yes, if they secure the victory here, then the race is so on.
Oh, yeah.
It is so hard to predict who's going to come out on top at that point. It could be still Cyclone GG remaining at the number 1 spot, but it could just be dethroned there by Indian Wolves.
Yeah, I can't even imagine the amount of pressure these players might be going through at certain times, especially now. And for Cyclone GG as well, like, okay, so if they recognize the fact that their backline currently is the weaker position, at least what we see happening live in these matches, then what sort of changes do you make? Because you still need to go for engagements to get those eliminations, and especially on Military Warehouse, there's simply no other way, right? So you need to leave your base, you need to move forward, and it's probably going to result in something like you're going to see themselves, like if you can imagine the map from above, which is, well, essentially the area where the most battles takes place is essentially a square. One way how you can avoid your backline being vulnerable is if you stay occupied diagonally on one side of the map, right? So if you were to cut it diagonally in half, you have all your players in this sort of region, and that way nobody can get into the back lines of Cyclone GG.
Yeah, and if you take the Pythagoras theorem and you actually divide, okay, no more need for
back
any...
to the kitchen, Danny. Back to the kitchen with your jokes and stuff.
But the thing is, though, yeah, I definitely see where you're coming from, especially this being more of a boxy map. You can definitely have one of the players, overlooking the right side. The other player...
Because there's a slope, right, on the side. So you have one player there, you have one player on the other side, and then they have 2 players ducked in the corner.
Well, let's get how it going right now. It is going to be Military Warehouse here, folks. This could be, in fact, the decider here. A 3-0 victory there for Indian Wolves is looking possible. But what do you guys think? Do you think it's going to be 3-0 here for Indian Wolves? Or will Cyclone GG bounce back? Let us know in the chat here, folks. But for now, we're jumping into the game.
Military Warehouse Team Deathmatch, map number 3 in this best of 5 series. Indian Wolves in the lead in a 2-0 fashion so far against the one and only Cyclone GG. Can they actually do it here as Gunner makes the first strike and getting those first points in favor of Cyclone GG? And Hope and Ravi Reddy can only hope to stay alive as Gunner even gets a triple elimination here. Hope finally able to trade, but it's simply not good enough, and Indian Wolves will need to reset and go for another engagement. They haven't noticed Heisenberg in this corner.
Oh, he's going down. He is going down. That was a bit of an aggressive play from Heisenberg. He was feeling confident. I mean, with a start like that, I can't really blame him, man. Hello. Not sure what Ghost was doing in that position, but Yonko's going to try to get himself the second one. He gets shut down, and this is where Indian Wolves, yes, they have respawned, but they do have Cyclone GG still. The players are almost on full HP except for Lonesome Gunner.
Right, Skilled, looking for any opportunities he might find, and he finds exactly the right person. Gunner was on low health, and he's gonna fall there, but Yonko will be able to trade instantly. Ghost now laying a few shots. Blaze! Blaze! He gets the Blade Master out and decimates Ghost in that situation. Even gets a follow-up, a double elimination, and those are valuable points in the pockets of Cyclone GG, which are currently in the lead with about 80 points. And it seems that Indian Wolves are a bit lost. They're being picked one by one and not really trading effectively right now, as Heisenberg will find Ghost in that middle part of the map. And you can see as well with the sniper rifles, Blaze looking forward. Hope will try to go for an engagement. Skilled able to follow up. The G-Launcher doesn't really connect as Ravi Ready will find Heisenberg. And now things are clicking for Indian Wolves as Yonko is in a dangerous position. Can't really fall back there, and Indian Wolves have narrowed the point gap to 60.
Oh, that could be a very important engagement there, but Blaze and Heisenberg, Blaze again coming out on top. You know, there was definitely a possibility Indian Wolves can still bounce back, but I actually thought if they get those eliminations there, that was looking much better for them, because now the players, they have to respond, they have to again try to find some of these eliminations here. Yonko does go down. He was the low HP player, but now we do have a battle here with the snipers. Just in exchange of damage. Nothing more, nothing less. Ghost right now, maybe trying to get himself a G-Launcher there. It is going to be an exchange of G-Launchers. Heisenberg picks up one. You do have Hope getting the double elimination. G-Launcher connects straight to the face of Yonko, but it's no elimination. Right now, Indian Wolves, they still need to bounce back here by getting some of these eliminations here, but Cyclone GG still in the lead. Oh, this is bad. Ravi Ready, he's going to get taken down. He has his buddy Skilled to help him out, but even he goes down. Gunner finds the elimination, and Cyclone GG leading by 90 points.
90 points in favor of Cyclone GG right now, as the Indian Wolves are still struggling to a bit to happening. Trying to understand what really happened here. Ravi Ready will spot Blaze toward the left-hand side. Will move forward as Hope with the flank will find Yonko. Skilled finds elimination.
Nice.
Ravi Ready gets a Blade Master, and Skilled gets a follow-up. 40 points between these two and 1:50 seconds on the clock. This is still very doable for Indian Wolves and Cyclone GG. They probably thinking, what just the hell just happened? We were in the lead so convincingly, and then we need to start from ground zero. You can see Indian Wolves have taken positions now, not really allowing for Cyclone GG to move forward freely here, as Skilled will get Blaze, but Yonka was able to trade. The connection is there as Ghost and Ravi Ready find those eliminations, and only, what, is that 5 points between the two?
Exactly. It's only 5 points difference between the two squads, and the thing is though, those past wipeouts have worked out so well for Indian Wolves. They have barely lost any HP, and now we do see Skilled. There's going to be a player right in front of him. He takes it down. Ravius responds. Heisenberg and Gunner taken out as well, but Ghost and Skilled responds. 30 more points remaining, and they might just secure themselves the victory here. Cyclone GG were looking so hot, but they are cold right now. What's going on here, Cyclone?
They simply cannot die at this moment, and Ghost might just fall here. The grenade lands right on top of him. Blaze is going to give the go-ahead to move forward here. We'll find Skilled as well. It's neck and neck, 45 seconds, and 30 points for either side in order to grab the victory here, as Ravi Ready will get Yonko. Gunner will be able to trade 400, 500, and it's Indian Wolves grabbing it. 3-0.
They get it done.
My boys finally do it.
Oh boy, what a game, what a game, what a game. 3-0 there for Indian Wolves. Not a single map there for Cyclone GG. They get absolutely mocked with the floor with, and that is impressive. Indian Wolves, they get it done. Not only is it it's a victory, but it's a 3-0 victory at that. Dominating stuff.
Dominating stuff indeed, and Indian Wolves show that last week number 4 was just a fluke of them not reaching the semis. They can even grab the first place going up against Cyclone GG, and as we already mentioned so many times before, but one more time, 3-0 against Cyclone GG is something that you need to write down and remember closely. As for Cyclone, it's back to the drawing board, and they really will need to analyze what exactly went wrong there for themselves. And on Military Warehouse, especially against Cyclone GG, I commend Indian Wolves very much so in their achievement in terms of being able to coming back, playing careful, and you saw that in the last 2 minutes, basically what Indian Wolves were doing, where they would just position themselves around close corners each other, just to make sure that as soon as one person is getting an engagement, the other one can jump in, and they're playing basically a 2-against-1 game against the Cyclone GG. They narrowed the point gap, overtook the lead, and then afterwards just closed it out in a super clean performance.
Well, folks, let's take a look at the MVPs we had here for the matchup. Obviously, there were some great names shining through, but it looks like Cyclone GG's Blaze is the one that will be commended from his side. 148 score, 8 eliminations, 5 assists, 11 deaths. Not that great here for Team Deathmatch, but they obviously lost it, so it does make sense as for Indian Wolves.
It was skilled with 175 points, 12 eliminations, 8 assists, and 9 deaths. Definitely a huge accomplishment, especially in a match like this, for Skilled, being able to rack up so many eliminations and, of course, making sure that he has less deaths than his opponents do. So that was the huge upset of this week. Let's just have another look at the brackets and just remind you guys how it all went down here one more time today. So we kick things off with Cyclone GG going up against Xavier's, where they did manage to secure the victory in a 2-0 fashion, and it didn't really seem to be any sort of like a hard ordeal for themselves. And afterwards, we did have that Indian Wolves match against Unkilled, where Indian Wolves secured a 2-0 victory, pushing Unkilled, unfortunately, again down to that third and fourth place decider match.
In which we did have, of course, Unkilled, 3-0ing their opponents. Saviors there wasn't the most interesting series, but this grand final, even though you might look at the scoreline thinking, yeah, this was an easy affair for Indian Wolves, they haven't given up a single map. But the thing is, though, those matchups were so close. The first one, maybe not so much, but the second or third one, boy, oh boy, they could have gone either way. We saw some big plays coming through, and the Indian Wolves, they definitely deserve the victory here in this week.
Right, so Indian Wolves have shown us that you need to be afraid of the Wolves and you need to be careful how you approach these teams. So we do have, of course, a bit of a change in the standings in terms of what amount of points these teams have. So let's have a look at it currently and see that Cyclone GG are still in that first place with 450 points. And as we already said, if Cyclone GG don't even make it to the semis next week, then Indian Wolves have all the opportunities in the world to actually make a draw in terms of how many points they would have. Currently, though, Indian Wolves are sitting comfortably at 350 points, and the third place, as always, taken by the Unkilled roster. For Xavier and Dracarys, though, 200 and 125 points respectively, and it seems that there is a distinct line between that third and fourth place position in terms of skill, at least from what we've seen today.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like Unkilled is still, a contention in which they look like they're capable of actually securing the victory there in the grand final. But the thing is, though, Unkilled, yeah, they again fall short here in the semis. We obviously saw some great stuff coming out there at the very end there of spring and the start of summer, but it looks like they're just going to keep on chugging along, being in that third place, I guess you could say, third place finish, whereas again it is a battle between Indian Wolves and Cyclone GG to see who's still going to secure themselves a spot in the upcoming Pro Series event.
Right, so there are events to come, and of course, one more time, if anyone didn't have the opportunity of looking at that Cologne event live, there is still a recording available. Make sure that you jump onto that and see how it all went down between the titans of the world. And don't go too far, though, because in about 5 hours, we'll be talking about what's going on in the Europe scene and see who makes it through the brackets, how things go down in the semis. And of course, as always, there's going to be juicy grand finals and hopefully more highlights today, because it seems like to be a good day for highlights. I mean, there's so much action happening and so many good connections with those G launchers.
Yeah, today seems to be a good day here in the Southeast Asia region. Let's hope it's going to continue on here with, of course, the games here for the European region, as well as, of course, it's going to be, I guess you could call it a bit of a more competitive region, and the games should be top-notch.
All right.